Hey everyone, this is Fabio and welcome back. We're doing something a bit different today. Different in the sense I'm not just recording my voice, but we're taking a proper video. Even though we're just doing another video response, which it's a very good topic actually. We're going to do a video response to my good buddy Majora T, more specifically to his last video, What is your spirit console? As I said, very interesting topic. I really wanted to be involved into this. As a reminder, like being part of the gaming community, or at least our small corner of the gaming community. But yeah, also as a tribute to Majora T, since the way he started his video with those flashy sunglasses, I'm gonna do the same and wear this glorious one for the rest of the video, even though, yeah, I look like Giorgio Moroder or like a DJ from the 70s or something like that. But hey, well, why not? Let's keep things interesting here. So, spirit console, as Majora T said, like kind of like the spirit animal. An animal, thus console that represents you, who you are as a gamer. And as I said to him, to me it's fairly obvious. Like if you follow my channel, I'm so distracted by these sunglasses. I'm awesome. As I was saying, like if you follow my channel, you probably know the answer already. And it's not going to be any surprise for various reasons though. And the console that represents me as a gamer, without a doubt, has to be the PlayStation 1. Obviously, I mean, I made an entire 40 plus minutes video on why the PlayStation 1 is my favorite console of all time. And so I'm not doing something like that here again. I'm just going to summarize that as much as possible to just justify my answer, I guess. I mean, there are two main reasons. Let's keep in touch with the sunglasses here. There are two main reasons for the PS1 being not only my favorite console, but the console that I think best represents me as a gamer. And one are, of course, the games. What a shocker, because a console is, after all, defined by its games. Again, not surprising considering the impact that the PS1 had on me as a gamer. That is the console that introduced me, or at least let's say that properly introduced me, made me fall in love completely with JRPGs, which are my favorite games of all time after all. I'm a massive JRPG fan because of the games I play on the PlayStation 1. Breath of Fire 3, of course, it's the one that really reignited this massive passion that I always love to tell this story. I'm not going to tell the whole thing again, but just like it started so wrong with Ultima, then Phantasy Stars scratched that itch of the role-playing gaming concept, and then the PlayStation 1 with Breath of Fire 3 brought it back full force and made me fell in love completely. As I said in another video, it's mainly because of the storytelling techniques in JRPGs that I fell in love with it, but the whole rest of the package was so much what I wanted in a way back then. It was the perfect game at the perfect time, and it just opened up the doors for a series of incredible games, as I said, from Breath of Fire 3, Final Fantasy 6, Breath of Fire 4, Legend of Dragoon, Final Fantasy 9, Parasite Eve 2, and the list goes on, which interesting I mentioned Parasite Eve already, but just to give you an idea, and I play also others, but these are some of the biggest one I can think of on that console. And when I think about the PlayStation 1, I think of those games. I think of those countless hours, primarily at night, that I spent playing JRPGs. I remember, I spent more than 100 hours playing Legend of Dragoon. I probably about 100 hours between Breath of Fire 3 and 4. As I said, countless hours, and I was so involved into this because I couldn't believe the games could provide such epic stories. I was so attached to these characters. Also because it's very connected with, at the time, my very growing passion for anime. Because obviously I watched anime before the PlayStation 1 era, but that's also the period when they started also to grow in popularity. So I could talk with someone else about anime and stuff. And to me, games and JRPGs are so interconnected with anime. And it was just like a couple of passion combining to each other. But also other games, as I mentioned in that old video, like my second favorite gaming genre are always being survival horror, which, by the way, big shout out to Bolin Nick. He recently did a very, very cool video on survival horror, and really enjoyed it. And I have to agree with him on the fact that what today we think are survival horrors, they're not really. They're more action horror games. But yeah, that's the first time I experienced those games, and they left a permanent mark on me. Like from the first Resident Evil. And the rest of that series, the first Dino Crisis and its sequel, because we'll not talk about the third one, of course, the Silent Hill games, Galerians, Kudelka, Parasite Eve, which was a match made in heaven to me, because obviously it combined my two favorite genre into a perfect gaming, like a hybrid RPG survival horror, just perfection to me. I couldn't ask for nothing better than that. So, but also other games like I always think about Metal Gear Solid. It was the first time I experienced the stealth genre. With Medal of Honor, it was not the first time, but the next big step of first-person shooters on consoles. Because before that, on the Super Nintendo, I played Doom, of course. But up until that point, I always considered survival horror as a PC exclusive, almost. But with Medal of Honor and at the same time, you get GoldenEye on N64. That was a total step forward that will then prepare the stage for Halo and the next level of the behemoth the first-person shooter will become on consoles. But other than the games, because I can be here and talk for hours about each individual game I just mentioned and why they mean so much to me, but it's not the point here. But obviously, as I said before, games are integral part of what a console is and what it can offer. But the second reason why to me the PS1 is my spiritual console and it's my favorite console of all time, it's the time frame. It happened that to me, I discovered the PS1 and became obsessed with it during a critical time of my life, during my teenage year, basically, when I was exposed to all this new material. That it was like video gaming wasn't new, but like that, yes, it was to me. Like, as I said, I didn't know that video games could offer compelling stories as Breath of Fire 3. And I have never experienced survival horror or horror games in general, and I was fascinated by them. So it was a big new experience, and it completely captured my imagination. And also, that's why to me the PlayStation 1 represents what to me is the golden age of video gaming. Most of you will probably disagree with me because I say, "Oh, how can you say that? You're just blinded by nostalgia." It's not that. That's when, to me, gaming was at its peak. I don't have the same passion for gaming now that I had during the PS1 era. Back then, I was really involved. I really cared about games. Now, I still love video gaming, of course. I mean, look at that. I have plenty of games there from different generations. But it's not the same thing. To me, most of the magic of video games is long gone. And the main reason why I believe that the PS1 era is a very pivotal moment in gaming history, it's because it was before the rise of the internet. Internet was there, of course, but not as we intended today. It was insignificant compared to today. I still remember, I think it was either 1999 or something like that I sent my first email. It sounds so primitive, but it was just 20 years ago, basically. And I still remember, yeah, I'm older than the internet, people, among other things. But because the internet wasn't a thing, gaming was much smaller. I mean, it wasn't, of course, in retrospective. It was a big and growing form of entertainment and a hobby, of course. Like the PlayStation 1, I think, sold more than 100 million consoles. But because the world was much, much smaller, because we didn't have the internet instead, communication was just among, like, was just word of mouth basically, or the telephone. We didn't have Facebook, we didn't have YouTube, all these great stuff that we have today that made the world incredibly smaller. And before, obviously, it meant the world was much bigger, actually. But then we had to read magazines. That was our internet, basically. That's the only way to know a game was good or bad. That was the only way to me to hype for a game. Now the hype is gone. I don't care about game release anymore, basically. I mean, this year, the only game that remotely interested me and I will buy, it's Cold Steel 3, naturally. But other than that, I don't care. I have plenty of games in my backlog that will keep me company. So, but yeah, I've changed very much, of course. Times have changed, and I moved on, and I'm a different person, of course, because I'm an adult now. But there was something truly, truly magical about video gaming back then to me. It was truly a special moment to be a video gamer. And as I say, that's why to me the PS1 is so pivotal and really, really represents me as a gamer, and therefore is my spirit console, not spiritual, like very centered here. But yeah, that's it. That's my video response to Majora T. Let me just remove these things that are filled with dust, and because I haven't, as I said, they're not even mine. But so yeah, that's my spirit response to Majora T. My God, and definitely keep the response going. I'll leave the link to the video in the description below, so you can check out and do your own video response or comments and stuff like that. And meanwhile, thanks for watching. I hope you're all safe and take care.